Up next, creative ways to get out of debt. Well, it is a struggle for millions, how to get out of debt.
Our next guest literally wrote a book on it, not to mention the fact that she says it's possible to get out of debt joyfully. That's the title of her book. Let's welcome Simone Milasas. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Sally, for having me here.
Okay, now, you say stop ignoring your debt because it ain't going to go away.
Yes. I mean, I ignored my debt for years and then realized one day, this is not going away. I actually need to take some action. I need to start looking at what I've created so that I can change it.
And you had some overwhelming debt. I mean, we're talking more than $100,000. Yes. How did you do it?
Well, you know what? No one ever looked at me and went, oh, look, it's really obvious that she's in debt. I just kept saying yes to things. I did the typical thing of spending way too much money for what was actually coming in. So I found myself in 187,000 Australian dollars in debt.
That's quite a bit. Okay, now, when you do get paid, you favor paying yourself first before you do anything else?
Yes. Now, this was a tool that I heard from Access Consciousness, and it made no sense to me whatsoever.
Right.
Because I thought putting away money that's just for me when I owed so many people money, I didn't get the sense that that was honoring. But what I realized was I needed to start doing something different. If I kept doing the same thing, then I was expecting, the same result. So what I did was I started to put 10% away of every single thing that I earned, and it was just for me, like an honoring account just for me. And I still have that account. Because what ends up happening is when you have this sense of having money, your point of view starts to change around money and starts to change around your finances.
So you don't touch that money. You just keep it in there. That honors you first. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's your advice. That's a bit of a head scratcher for some people.
But it didn't make sense to me either. But after about 3 months, I went, oh, I noticed my point of view changed around money. Right. And that's what I was looking for.
And then you also say be aware of your financial reality.
Yes, the amount of people who are not willing to be aware of their financial reality, whereas, one of the tools I talk about in the book is write down all of your expenses, and not like on a budget. This is your life. What would you like your life to look like? Like, do you like to drink expensive champagne or cheap champagne? Like, write it all down and also write down what it is you'd like your life to look like and add that up and start asking for that to show up. If you're aware of your finances, you can increase it and you can change it. If you're not willing to be aware of it, it won't change.
What do you mean by stop judging you?
Oh, well, how many times do you judge you for anything and then it works out greater? Or if you stop judging you and start to ask questions, you can actually have a different reality show up. I mean, people usually wake up in the morning and have this litany of judgment about their bodies, their relationship, their business, their financial reality. If you stop judging you, then what could you create?
That's a good way of thinking about it, yeah. And then finally you say look at creating some alternative income streams. Anybody can do this?
Yes. So I see so many people complain about what they don't have, complain about the money they don't have, but what if you actually started asking questions? Like a friend of mine who loved to dog walk, she ended up creating this huge dog walking business in Santa Barbara just from walking her dog. It's like a friend of mine in Australia, who has kids, ended up being an Uber driver, even if just 2 hours a day. So what could you add to your life and add to your financial, reality that would increase it instead of sitting at home just, complaining about it? Do something different.
Great idea, Simone. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Jose. Thank you, Sally.
It was good to see you. Thanks as always. We're creating joy, getting out of debt joyfully. We appreciate it.
I like that.